Sirens of the Caspian Sea, the depths of the ocean we gather in splendor, sunken ships and treasure, luring sailors with our songs, hypnotic hymns, promises of bliss, whirling and swirling. But can you trust your sight? In the water your blood will spill, hypnotized by your song of life, swirling and twirling, the warmth of the ocean, spinning with souls in motion. Take caution, my friend, this could be the end. A mermaid's tale, you're mortal, so frail. I'm a figment of your imagination, our beauty, your song intoxicating, mesmerizing sound, ships running round. In calm or storm, you won't see the shore. Your final resting place, the ocean floor, swirling and twirling, the warmth of the ocean, spinning with souls in motion. Take caution, my friend, this could be the end. A mermaid's tale, you're mortal, so frail. Swimming with the souls of men untold, watching their demise unfold. Never to grow old, their stories never told. The souls of the sea are now caressing me. Your final resting place, the ocean, the sea, the murder of men, no one will ever find them. Swirling and twirling, the warmth of the ocean, spinning with souls in motion. Take caution, my friend, this could be the end. A mermaid's tale, you're mortal, so frail. Catching a reflection in the mirror of something standing in the corner of my room, watching me, observing me. Is it my imagination or insanity? A strange hum, a flash of light. I'm overcome, nothing but fright. Otherworldly beings taking me in the night. I'm an extraterrestrial hostage tonight. I wanna run, but I so scared. Confusion and nasty fear. It wasn't just a nightmare. So loud, so bright, hypnotizing me, figures lost in time. I'm tortured, surrounding me tonight. I'm an extraterrestrial hostage tonight. I wanna run, but I can't move. What do I do? What do I do? Where are they taking me? Where are they taking me? I'm an extraterrestrial hostage tonight. I wanna run, but I can't move. I don't feel real. I wake up in my bed. Was it just in my head? Where are they taking me? I feel swelling in me. Where are they taking me? Anxiety rising. Was it just in my head? Paralyzing panic. Was it just in my head? I'm an extraterrestrial hostage tonight. I wanna run, but I can't move. What do I do? What do I do? Where are they taking me? Where are they taking me? I'm an extraterrestrial hostage tonight. I wanna run, but I can't move. I don't feel real. I wake up in my bed. Was it just in my head?
Entombed for 3,000 years, wrath growing in me. I have lived an eternity, suspended in darkness. Release me. Release me. Wasting and running. Release me. Release me. Condemned and bound, the sands of time have run out. Curse fills the room, curiously open my tomb. Rising from the cradle of death, my sentence has come to an end. Release me. Release me. Wasting and running. Release me. Release me. My curse is your curse. Death is the gift I bring. Revenge in my hands. I feel no remorse. This is the mummy's corpse. Release me. Release me. Wasting and running.
watching your every move. I'm obsessed with you. Twisted thoughts erupting and slowly decaying. My jealousy, my envy is tearing me apart. A wicked man and his wicked deeds.
Masquerading as a child
A
of
monster
light.
with his cruel knees
Envy cannot
as he
fight.
dances with.
Welcome to Paranormal Roundtable. I'm your host, Josh Turner, and this is PRT. Welcome to the show. So, a few things we got to talk about. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, but we're not going to get to all of it. We won't. But we'll get to some of it. You know, saying there's no sound still.
No, there is. They're just behind.
Okay. All right. Well. All right. So I don't know why you call this one Grand Canyon Mysteries. It's only one story on there about that. But
We
whatever.
can always retitle it.
Whatever. Just waiting for some people to get in here. If anybody watched the show last night, we've been doing a lot of work on the Saturday shows. Can I get something to drink?
Yeah.
Sorry, folks. I'm not feeling too good right now. So, we hit 36,000 today, or well, we did it yesterday, but we didn't announce it.
Yeah, we forgot.
It's kind of not. I mean, I'm going to be real honest with you, folks. I'm just not feeling too good today. There's several things going on, and I'm not going to bore you with the details or whatever. Let's just put it this way: when you think that people are who they are, and they're not. There's a lot of jealousy in this field. When things come to light and you think somebody's your friend and they've been against you the whole time, that just kind of, puts a damper on things. Let's put it that way. You want to believe in the best in people. At least I do.
I mean, that's in my nature. It gets me in trouble, though.
So we had a meeting yesterday, and we decided we were going to kick the idea around about scrapping the live streams.
Just sticking to the podcast. Makes things a lot less complicated, you know?
Yeah. There's people in this field that this right here, the live stream is it's all they care about is going live and getting money, and then they lie and say that they don't care about money, and they're full of crap. That's their whole reasoning behind it. And so, you know what? Let them have it. Let them have it. We just go, you know, we thought about it. We talked about it yesterday when all this other stuff came to light. We're not going to get into who it is or what it is.
The podcast reach more people anyway.
Yeah. And so all this stuff started when we started doing the live streams. And I think we did a damn good job. I think we did it as good as anybody out there, if not better. And
You definitely set the standard.
people didn't like it. So they came after us, and 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 they came after us. And now we got to have a big meeting with the lawyers tomorrow, and I'm sick of it. I'm sick and tired of it, and I think it'd just be better if we just let them have it. Let them have it. Let the shitheads have it. That's what they want. That's what they want. And if we, I know people say, well, you're giving them what you want. Well, yeah, but I have my own mental mind.
I mean, we're still going to outgrow and outpace them all. You know, if you put them all together, we'll still outgrow them. Doesn't matter.
And the worst is a fence sitter that pretends like they're your friend. I'm going to tell you right now, that's just... Got some of that going on. If it was me and somebody did and said the things about these particular people that they say about me, I would have been up in arms. I would have been like, no, you're not talking about my friend like that. Mm-hmm. But they're okay with it. So it's pretty soul crushing when you think some, you know, just you know, and I've been being told by several people over the last 2 weeks, and I have to face reality. The people ain't my friend. They're just not. They don't care about me. Never did. They wanted clout and money. And so there's different ways we could do this as Paranormal Roundtable, paratroopers here. We could just go for the throat and just devour everything and then look like a bad guy. Or we could just bow out gracefully and let them take it. Let them have it. Because who really cares? We're going to get ours anyway.
I mean, our lives were a lot less complicated when we just did the hour-long shows once a week, you know.
These people, all they care about are them donations. That's all they care about. And when I was getting donations, they were really up in arms. They hadn't been so aggravated lately because I haven't been getting as much, so they're okay with that. So we kind of watched and we waited to see. And yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's mother effing money. That's all it is. They're all about the money. Sitting up there acting like pious Christians. Bull crap. You ain't. Money hungry. Stop pretending. Stop pretending like you're our friend, because you're not. The whole lot of them. So today I've been working on the syndication and getting sponsors for the TV. And so this may just have to go the way of the dodo. And maybe then they'll stop their shenanigans and, you know, because that's what this boils down to. You know. You know, because like I said, there's two ways to play it. There's two ways to do it. You can go all out, and I can sit here and make fun of them all day long and laugh at them because they're nothing but goofballs in the big scheme of things. Or, you know, just leave. I talked with the Lord today, and I'm going to have another talk about it tomorrow. He seems to be chomping at the bit. He's ready, but just some things came to light that I didn't want to look at. I didn't want to see it for what it is. You want to believe that people are on the up and up. But you know, they're just not. So, yeah, ignoring them and keep going. We've been ignoring them, but we gave them a cease and desist. That didn't stop them. They all congregate in this one chat, and like I said, if they really gave a crap about us, they would have said, "Hey, don't do this," you know. But they don't care. They want what they want. So I'm going to be the bad guy regardless. So you can do what a bad guy does and show them that you're a bad guy and just destroy them and you know, and take pleasure in their destruction. Or you can just, you know what, let them have it. Some of the people that have chosen to fall in line with these deviants, and they are, if you read their comments and what they say and do, it is unbelievable. Now, if you were my friend and you saw those comments and you knew that they were saying those things, wouldn't you come out and be like, hey, you know, don't do that. I'm not going to be a part of that. And or would you give them a place to go and congregate? So that's where I'm at. But for today at least, and one of the things that spurred this on is I had a long talk with a potential sponsor today, and she doesn't watch the live streams at all. She only watches or listens to the podcast. I'd say most of our listeners are really not on YouTube. They're actually in the podcast. We have a bunch of listeners across 15 platforms.
I mean, we're way past 36,000.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. And so, you know, doing this was a fun thing at one time, you know, and you sit up here and let's just talk about it, you know, for just a few minutes until the thing fills up. And then once it fills up, we'll start talking about the show. But if you stop and you think about it, you know, it was fun. You got to sit up here and do skits, and, you know, you can retell people's encounters or bring people on and interview them, you know, and you can just shoot from the hip. And Kentucky Boy says, do podcasts pay better than YouTube? That's a question for Anthony. About the same, right?
Yeah, I mean, and they're pretty neck and neck.
Well, it depends on the donations.
Yeah.
But we ain't got none lately,
But
so it ain't matter.
the podcast is just simpler, simplify our lives. I mean, the live streams are cool, but there's just too much crap associated with them because everyone's doing them. So,
I mean,
Yeah, everyone started copying us.
yeah.
And so everybody started copying us because they wanted to do it. And now, you know, you see the people that used to be in our chat, they're over there in their chats now, you know. Oh, there it is. But, you know, to hell with them. Let them have it. I'll go on maybe Rumble so we can have fun. But and this ain't set in stone. We don't know what we're going to do. We're kicking the idea around because we seem to have lost some of our important people, you know, to these other whatever. You know, that was their whole plan, was to, and Mr. Reefy guy went on a campaign so he could snipe our big donors.
I mean, scrapping the live streams is something that they'll both are just kind of kicking around. But I mean, for my part, like, I'm all for it. Just me personally, you know, he's not. It's still like up for debate for him. But as far as I'm concerned, hey, if we decide on it, good. I mean, that's where I stand. There's so many things in my life, just personally, that need to be addressed, that I need to be working on. that I just can't get to because of all the complications that this brings. You know, I'm sorry to everyone who's going to be disappointed if we go that route, which we may not. But I just want to let y'all know, me as an individual, I'm all for it because I'm tired, and there's a lot of things that are more important to me than trying to defend myself against just insane people. You know, so, but just don't be mad at Wolf. Don't just. I'm just telling you how I feel, and as far as he's concerned, this is just an idea. But as far as I'm concerned, let's just go forward and just stick to the podcast because that's what built this show up anyway. You know. So I said my piece,
And I think that, you know, the rest of the team kind of feels the same way. Suzette, what is that? Tian? What?
let's see.
She says, "Who are they talking about?" I'm not going to say their names right now. If we decide to get out of this and do it, then I'll tell you. I'll tell you exactly who they are and what they're doing and what they've done, and the backstabbery that they've been engaging in.
Mm-hmm. I mean, either way, we'll still be around doing the podcast, which is what a lot of people enjoy. And I mean, for a while, we were doing like 2 podcast episodes a week. You know, maybe we can even go back to doing that.
Yeah, because I was thinking if we're putting in 9 to 10 hours of work a week on the show,
I was just about to say,
we might as well just do a podcast, like maybe 2 or 3 podcast episodes a week, and then, you know,
we could
that
be
way they
recording
can.
for 9 hours.
And then we can also focus on the production value more with the podcast because it's pre-recorded and we're gonna have the time to Kiam's gonna have the time to make like a cool intro, to just to do all the things that will take the production value to the next level. You know, I mean, it just simplifies things and it'll help the channel grow like even better, even faster, because he knows how to get us more exposure with the YouTube algorithm. So like, there's specific things you have to do, and he's plugged into all that because he has time for that. He's trained on that.
Yeah. They just couldn't. They just couldn't stand to see us doing good, so great. You know, they just had to. And you have these other maniacs who just came out of left field and started up, and I don't even know who these people are. I've never met these people in my real life, in my whole life. I have no idea who these people are, dude. And I'm ready to put them in my rearview mirror and go on. Let's put it that way. Like we're trying to figure it out because we don't want to end the show. We're not going to say because we've kicked that idea around so many times about ending the show because it's just too much, you know, to deal with. But
I mean, I told you my opinion on that. I told you, like, I believe you found your true calling, and I think like this is. You giving this up would be the biggest mistake because this is something.
Well, we're not going to give it up.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
just do it in a way that's more feasible to our own. Like, I mean, we got too much going on outside of this, you know.
Well, I mean, my opinion on that is that it's just not a good idea entirely to even think about it because, you know, what you're doing is too good, and I think you're too good at what you do. So, I mean, I don't think it's just a shame to stop it. And, you know, the live streams were, you know, really fun and I thought really helpful for a lot of people too, because they can interact better with, you know, us. But I just haven't been feeling comfortable on the live streams for a while now. And, you know, if it continues going or stops, I'll be here either way. But I mean, I just haven't been enjoying, you know, sitting here and like, just having to constantly be thinking about these people because of how it affects Wolf, you know, because it happens during the show as well. There's a lot of behind the scenes things that happen that you guys don't see because while he's live, you know, people will message him and he'll be getting
and say, hey, look what
reports to
so
be
and so
like,
was
yeah.
saying. Look what so and so was doing. It's like, dude.
It's like, he can't even go escape it while he's on the show. So it's just like sometimes it's just not fun. And, it just hasn't been fun in a while.
Yeah. I think the funnest we had was cutting loose
Rumble.
on Rumble. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was actually fun.
Rumble was a breath of fresh air. I got to say that.
Because you could just call these people out for what they are. And there's one of them in particular, little beady-eyed shit. I'd like to just say exactly what I think about him right now, but I'm not going to say it. I'm just going to bite my tongue for now.
But the podcast was the life's blood of the show for a long time. So, I mean, either way, you're still going to get PRT in some form.
Yeah.
You can count on that much.
And you can guarantee that it's going to keep getting better, too.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what KM has in store, because he's full of ideas. And, I just want to see him turn PRT into like something fancy, because there's only so much that I can do. I'm not good with the software that you have to be able to use to do all that stuff, like all the Adobe After Effects and Blender. I don't know how to do all that. But
and one of the things that people say, they try to say like his enemies, like they put it in quotations, like it's a make believe, like it's a joke. These people aren't a joke. This isn't make believe. And I named them, on Rumble. There's a couple others in there that need to be thrown in there too. And they've created a cabal, and they just cause nothing but chaos and problems. They can't let us be. They just let us exist. They have to be, constantly pissing in everybody's ear. And, and I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of nonstop attacks. You can only take so much, and your brain gets fried. You're just like, dude, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. I wake up today to more nonsense. I'm just, and it's taken a toll on my family. The things that they say are so ridiculous, though. But not everybody's smart enough to be able to see through it. Like, they actually get to some people and make them believe the bullshit. Like I said, most of those people are not smart that are believing it. But and a lot of them have horrible, like, rap sheets.
I mean, at least now that we
you'd be shocked at who would be,
At least now we can realize that the herd has been thinned, and the what's it called, the wheat's been separated from the shaft.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad I followed the legal advice, and did not go to where they congregate, because that would have been a huge mistake. And so now I am very glad for that. But we don't know what we're going to do. We're going to have a talk about it tomorrow with legal counsel, and just see where they decide. A smart man takes advice from his legal counsel. That's why you hire them. I was talking today to somebody who was mentioning that the person they were talking about decided to fire lawyer after lawyer after lawyer. This is a whole different thing. And then decided to represent themselves.
Oh, that's a genius.
And that worked out real well for them. And it's sad, because I like that guy, and the guy he was fighting with legally is another friend of ours. And that other friend absolutely destroyed him, because the fool represented himself. And I ain't trying to be mean, but like, dude, that was the dumbest thing you could have done. I just found out all about it today.
Wasn't there like a serial killer who did that?
Yeah, Ted Bundy. And I made the joke to her that
Wow.
he sounded like Bundy.
It's like arrogance.
Doing that. The arrogance of these people, So I'm not stupid, and this person that was perpetrating as my friend was trying to tell me that I shouldn't listen to my own lawyer. So that was a red flag. About a month ago, he was telling me that, and I'm like, I said, my lawyer told me to do that, and you're making a mistake. I'm like, what? And then I started realizing, like, you know, when you sit on the fence, you don't do anybody any favors. It only ends up happening is you cut your balls open on the barbed wire. That's what happens. But then again, you're not really on the fence because you're going to lean to one side or the other. So you're going to lie to one side and really be on the other. And that's kind of what's happened. These particular people have been pretending like they're neutral, but they're not. They're absolutely not. Because if you were, you wouldn't allow all the shit that goes on.
At least your enemy has the courtesy to stab you from the front.
Exactly. And then they want to talk about knives in their back. That's a straight out of the communist playbook. Commit a crime and then say the other one's doing it.
Accuse your enemy of what you're doing.
Yeah. But that's okay. One good thing is we're going to be having a conference. Not this year, but it's going to be next year, next fall. We're going to start promoting it now. I don't know exactly how that's going to work. But we have teamed up with Blondes and Booze, BMR, Tex. I think Monica's in there, all of them. And we're all going to be doing a conference in Missouri. Blondes and Booze just showed up right on time. And there's certain people that I don't want to deal with. I told them, I was like, I will not be in the same room with this person ever again, as far as I'm concerned. And it's up to them whether or not I say their name. If they start reacting like a damn fool, then I'm going to say everything I need to say. You leave me alone and just go on sucking ass with them other people, go ahead, do it. Then we don't have a problem. It's up to you. You want to make it a problem. You want to be a little, turd and go ahead and bring it. I don't give it. You're not going to destroy me. You will never destroy me. But thanks for the advice. It was always wrong every time you said it. So now I know why. Good luck. But that's where I'm at. It's sad that you got to, you can't deny it. That's one thing I don't understand about people is when somebody shows you irrefutable proof, you got to accept it,
You make your bed, you got to lie in it.
It's rough when you got to.
Talking about the conference, Rich Sykes says, I'll be there even if I have to walk there. And the funny thing is, I believe him. Rich is a super fan.
Yeah.
Nice guy.
A lot of good people that are with us. But
yeah, we're glad to have y'all.
Starscream.
I'll be there wearing a Speedo. I believe you too.
And the thing is, I'm not jumping to conclusions. I gave this person every opportunity to show me over and over again that they were a friend. And they couldn't do it. They could not pass the smell test. And I gave them every chance. I said, man, this is not correct. And,
yeah, it's just when you leave people to draw their own conclusions, it looks, it's a mistake. It looks bad. There's a time to keep quiet and there's a time to speak up.
And people around me have been telling me this for weeks.
Yeah. Just one of those things that's hard to accept.
Yeah. Finally, somebody that's close to them had an attack of their conscience and said, look, I'm just going to tell you what was said and done. And sorry, bastard. Anyway. But we got 300 people now. We got 300 people. And, as far as right now, though, we don't have any plans to end the live stream. Like, there's nothing set in stone.
Yeah.
But we will let you know. I think we're probably still going to be on all next week. We're going to, like normal, right?
Yeah.
That's the plan for now. But like I said, we have a meeting tomorrow with legal counsel, and that will probably make a decision there. So if he says, hey, maybe we should, I don't think they care whether or not we do the show at this point. But going forward, we have to kind of play our cards a certain way, because the thing is, when you go after somebody, sue them legally, whatever, I mean, they think that they're cute because they ain't got nothing to take. Well, here's what's going to happen, buddy. You're going to get a judgment against you that's going to follow you the rest of your life. It doesn't go away. It never goes away, ever. You can fix your credit 100 ways from Sunday, and you will still have that judgment against you. So when that happens, you are pretty much screwed. Good luck. Even some places won't even rent you an apartment. So they think that they're not going to have to, because these people, some of them don't work or some of them don't whatever.
Yeah.
You ain't going to be able to get nothing. Every time you try to get a vehicle, every time you try to go to an apartment, anything, you think that you're going to get away with this because you think that you ain't got nothing for me to take. Okay? But that judgment against you is good enough for me. So that's good for me. I'm happy with that. And if you think that I'm bluffing, you watch what happens. And they made some little joke about people not giving us the money to do it, whatever. Okay, I'm going to tell you right now, I will go give blood if I have to, because it's going to happen. All right? You think you're cute, what y'all did. You worked it together to try to, and you went after all of our donors. That's what you did, and moved them over. So you think you're cute. You didn't get away with this shit. All right? Man, my hands are freezing up in here.
Are you cold there, or is it just your hands?
It's kind of chilly in here to me.
Can we turn the AC up a couple degrees?
Yeah, Delana, you're right. These days, bankruptcy is a lifetime deal. It's forever. People shouldn't harass others. That's exactly right. Because they're making jokes like they don't have anything, like, what do you think? You have no non-exempt assets? Watch what happens. Watch what happens, dude. Y'all are going to pay the price. You will. Yeah. So, you could have left it alone. But their pride, just would not let it go.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, let's get out of the doldrums here, and let's talk about some stuff here. My freaking hands are cold. Yeah, and then Aki Bro says, I worked at a law firm for 6 years. Definitely not something they don't want to play with. They're too stupid to know better. They're all very stupid people. We've learned that. This isn't these are not. This is not advanced placement class. Where they're at. They're definitely in the minor leagues. But we've been doing a good job of not talking about them, not saying anything about them, not even giving them the time of day, and so. But we did have a talk, like I said yesterday, and it was after the show. And we started talking about it, and we thought, is it worth it to do the live streams anymore? Or is it really, or should we just move back to podcasting and just do the podcast? Because we're doing both right now. And, it was like I had a talk with someone today, and they said, I don't even watch the live stream. I just listen to the podcast.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
So we're really not, it's becoming time-consuming.
There's a huge audience market for Spotify and Apple Music in particular.
And so I kind of feel like at times where I'm like retelling people's encounters, or they're coming on and telling their encounters, and it's just kind of like being wasted. When we could just throw it onto the podcast where it reaches 15 platforms. including YouTube. You know, whereas these live streams are just YouTube, and then it comes with a ton of baggage, a bunch of bullshit from these assholes. You know, you get attacked. So, you know, at this point, they probably won't stop attacking us if we get off the live stream, but at least we don't have to. I mean, I'm saying it would probably lessen, you know, because that's what they want. What they want is for us to go away. And everybody's like, well, don't give them what they want. But you got to understand something. It comes down to a point where my family's safety and their sanity is important.
Yeah.
And so I can't be selfish about this. If it was me personally, I'd sit up here and talk shit all day.
Mm-hmm.
But this isn't just about me. It's about Anthony, Tony, Nelly, you know, everybody. And of course, Scorpion D and everybody else has to moderate and whatever.
Yeah, because you got to remember that these very people have our current home address, as well as the address to this very studio, and I'm sure they've plastered it and sent it to a bunch of other people. So it's kind of concerning, you know. So that's that.
Yeah. And we've had some stuff happen or whatever, you know. Well, doxing may be illegal, artistic money, but it ain't stopping them from doing whatever. Everything they're doing is not correct. They don't give a shit. And then to sit there and lie and say that I had a cease and desist from me. No, I did not. No, I did not. They're too cheap. Mm-hmm. They're too cheap to go out and get a cease and desist. That costs money. These people half of them don't work. And then the other ones lie about it. So let me tell you something. They don't, you know, they're not, they ain't got no cease and desist on us.
First, they would have to get a lawyer.
Yeah, that would cost money, you know. Like we have lawyers, you know. I have credit attorneys, you know. I have attorneys for everything. Real estate attorneys, you know. Those people, they're not adults. They don't look at things in adult ways. If you look at the things that they say, the stuff that they say, it's crazy stuff. Go listen to that Rumble we did, the last one we did. I read on there one of them what the roofer guy said. Listen to how crazy it is. I mean, this is after a cease and desist, all that stuff. I mean, that buried you, dude. And you're too slow to on the uptake to understand what you're dealing with. If you ever did make anything or have anything, you ain't going to keep it. I can tell you that, because I'm coming after you with guns blazing legally. Okay? It's weird. Yeah, Anunnaki, bro. Yeah, and then the other one, he makes art, the AI art of himself. You think you look like that? That's what you think you look like? What in the hell? I mean, you don't look anything like that. You are the one of the. You look like
corny.
You're melting, dude. You don't work out. If you do, it's going to take you about 2 decades to get, and then by that time you're too old to even get close to being in shape. And then your whole identity is joking about being fat and eating up a bunch of shit. All you got to do is sit back and wait them out. Heart disease will catch up at some point. I mean, you know. At this point, I don't give a shit. I mean, y'all done said so much crap. I could sit up here and talk till the end of time, and I wouldn't catch up to you.
I think our heart disease already beat him in a race.
It's unbelievable. So anyway, like I said, from here on out, it's going to be touch and go whether or not we do the live streams or not. We don't know. I'm not ready to throw it in, pack it in, and give it up, but these guys kind of are, and I think we're just kind of getting really sick of it. I'm starting to get wore down, you know, and it's not fun like it used to be, and it's a stress. You know, it's straining all of our. It's just straining us all. It's putting a strain on our resources. I mean, we're in the middle of trying to move, and we're trying to, you know, get this TV thing set up, and we're over here messing with this YouTube stuff, and it just don't add up. So, you know, plus if you get somebody on the show and they tell their encounters, or you retell their encounters, you reach the wider audience by just doing the 1 hour podcast, because that goes on YouTube and then it goes on 15 other platforms. This is just YouTube and that's it. And like several people have told me lately, they don't even watch it. So, you know. So, anyways, we had just sitting here looking at my notes, and these are actually the podcast episodes. Great. That's great. I don't know where my other ones are. But I know what we were talking about. We were going to talk about, there was a guy that gave us a story. I think we talked about it last night. And his name was Isaiah. And what he did, it just, you know, we've already wasted an hour of this bullshit, you know. So what we're going to talk about, I'm just going to jump right into it.
Cool.
And what happened was he went into the Grand Canyon. Now, there are parts of the Grand Canyon that you're allowed to go to, okay? And then there are parts of the Grand Canyon that you are not allowed to go to.
Yeah.
Now, believe it or not, there are parts of most national parks like this. Now, if you go into the national parks, there's one in particular I know that if you go into it, they have areas cordoned off where you're not supposed to go. And if you get caught in those areas, and they have fences around them. Now, people have asked me, they've been like, and they've even sent me pictures. They're like, what is this? Why is this here? Why are only park rangers allowed to go into that area? Well, there's a good reason. There's a good reason for that. That is where dogmen are eating people. Maybe, we don't know. I mean, you know, but here's the thing. We have gotten stories from state and national parks galore from people telling us that they want to go into these certain areas and they're not allowed to. One of them, like I said, is the Grand Canyon, and this person decided to disobey the rules, and he went, and just long story short, he went into an area where people are not supposed to go. And the signs are there to tell you don't go there, don't do this, don't do that. And some people take it as like, well, it's really a suggestion. If you go into that area, you might not survive, you might not make it out, you might die, right? But the chances are, you know, you're a tough guy and you don't need to drink water for a week, so you can survive. I mean, right? You can go in there and nothing's going to happen. So Isaiah was one of those people. He thought he was. What's funny is he's like 31 years old now.
Huh?
And he was telling me this story. He was telling it like, he goes, back when I was in my 20s, when I was young.
Back in the olden days.
And I'm like, you're like 2 years from your 20s.
Back when I was just a boy.
Did this happen?
I'm 30 years old now. I can't remember much from those days. It's all a faint memory.
Then I hung up on him because he couldn't remember shit. No, so he said, you know, he goes, back when I was younger, in my early, you know, days, whatever, younger days, and he said in his 20s. I said, 2 years ago, you were in your 20s. So then he really insulted me. He goes, this was like back in 2018. And I'm like, huh.
It was like yesterday, dude.
Wow.
Well, you're
I
also
was like,
30.
Literally 6 years ago. All right. But he was 25. He was young and full of ideas.
It's funny.
And
How,
I said, you know, sad to break your bubble, burst your bubble, but I said, you still are.
it's funny how vastly perceptions of time differ.
Wedge until he says, I'd guess and say at least half of what you can reach in the Grand Canyon is off limits when I was there in 2004. Well, it's gotten worse. But there's a reason for it. Right now, I got 4 stories that I could tell you off the top of my head of people who've had weird things happen to them in the Grand Canyon. One, though, would take up at least 2 hours of the show because her and her boyfriend is not longer her boyfriend, but at her boyfriend at the time, they went through some crazy stuff. That's going to be at a later, we're going to talk about that at some point. But right now, what I want to tell you is this young man decides that he's going to go into the Grand Canyon with only his dog. What's funny is his dog is a blue heeler named Red. So I was like, what do you name your dog?
So
You
he's
got a-
purple
You got a blue heeler named Red. What's going on with that?
because purple's his favorite color.
And so he goes into the Grand Canyon and, he slips past where he's supposed to be, let's put it that way. And he decides to go up on this ledge he thinks is pretty neat. But he's like, I had to admit that it didn't look natural. A lot of straight lines. They're not, it doesn't, they'll tell you, well, this was made by, erosion. Okay. Yeah, bullshit. Okay. These Cartesian lines, this is man-made. Okay. So he goes up into this ledge. He climbs up in there, and he manages to get up in there, and it goes back into the side of the canyon. And he says, it's about 20 feet up. It's pretty high up. And I asked him, I said, weren't you scared climbing up? He says, no, I'm a very experienced climber. I'm really good. I climb. That's what I do. And he's even got a little harness for his dog, and he was able to lift him up, whatever. And so his dog has been going with him for a long time doing these things. And he went to this place called the Cascades, and and we talked about that and what he had done. So it wasn't just about the Grand Canyon. He's done a lot of things, And he said, well, he was there. He had a weird dream. He said that the first night went off without a hitch, and then, that's when he hiked through and he went and he slept for the night. He said he heard weird noises coming from the canyon where he was at, where it was kind of narrow in some spots, and he heard like the echo of what sounded like something between a dog, a cat, and like a rat. You know how rats make that noise? And so he tried to play it for me, but I'm going to be real honest, and this is no knock on you, Isaiah, but I could not. I didn't personally. I didn't hear what he was hearing. Like he was saying, this is like, listen to this, okay. And this is not taken away from what may have happened to him. It was nothing to do with that. But I couldn't hear anything that made me think, oh, this is something bad. I was just like, I was like, it could be coyotes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But not. And I'm gonna say this: it could have been the coyotes echoing off of the wall.
Yeah.
That created that sort of,
chittering noise.
That noise. And so I was thinking, but thank you for that membership purchase, Cowboy. See, this is another reason why I don't want to end the live streams, because we do the giveaways on here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we could always go back to doing them where we put them onto the Facebook. You leave the comment, you go into the Facebook group. We could always still do that. We quit doing that. We started doing it through the
live streams.
Yeah, through the live streams, through the purchase of the
Memberships.
membership. Thank you, Tony. But we'd have to go back to doing it the old way. So I don't know. So what ended up happening?
Just real quick, I saw someone commented, like, what if we set up a Discord, which is, just for dedicated members. And if we had something like that, we could do the giveaways on just the Discord or even just on Rumble. I mean, we don't have to stop the giveaways because I think it is, a good part of our show.
Well, we only have 1,000 subscribers on Rumble.
Yeah.
I mean, like we'll get several thousand views, but only 1,000 people are subscribing. If you could, please, folks, just go subscribe on Rumble, because we may just leave and go to Rumble just to get away from these fake ass backstabbing dickheads. All they do is walk around in the woods and poke things with sticks anyway. Bunch of idiots. But anyway, so one of the things that I noticed about his story that seems to be a recurring theme, and I kind of compared it with some of the other people who had given us, their stories. And one of the things I noticed is it does usually start out like that. They start out with this sort of weird, like they have these weird sounds that they hear, and then it progresses. But this story stuck out, and the reason this one stuck out and why I reached back out to this guy was because he had a couple different things going on here. One of them definitely was a metaphysical thing, and the other was, whose phone is going? What is
It's
that?
gotta be Tony's. Just put it on silent.
But that's really, it's kind of throwing me off here. He had something that's, what was that?
Someone out there?
Oh, did y'all hear that? Sound like a
Why don't you go check?
crashing noise.
That's what I heard last night.
Really?
Cut that light off out there.
My brother keeps saying he's hearing stuff.
That way they
when
can't
he's
see
up there
in.
Working at night.
Is the front door locked?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we need to turn the light off right here.
No? Okay. The light is it's plugged into the wall down
Hold
there.
on 1 second, folks.
Talking about the strip light, right?
How did we get down to 318?
It's YouTube just like cutting the stream off for people. No. The strip lights.
No, this thing right here.
Oh,
That's what I thought he was pointing at.
Oh, my bad.
There you go. Just turn it off. This is right in my face. It burns my eyes. So one of the things that we noticed about these encounters in the Grand Canyon, it seems to be these people, they're always having like these weird noises that start to kind of echo back and forth, and they sound animalistic, typically. And so then he starts hearing these noises, and I'd heard this before. There was another woman named Shauna that had reached out to us and had told us her encounter with her boyfriend, her current boyfriend at the time. And so we kind of looked back and we said, you know what, this is, what is probably going on is the same thing. It's something very similar. And so, I told him, so I kind of went down the checklist and I asked him, I said, once again, it was somebody who trespassed into the area they're not supposed to go to, which some of the people have taken to calling it a forbidden zone. Now, we've heard of this before. There's a place called the Forbidden Zone, and, well, there's a lot of them.
Yeah. There's one in China, too.
In deserts, yeah, whatever. And so the thinking on it is that if you go into this area, you could not come out because you could be unalived. And it is for lack of water. Like, you will eventually not have water. But I think that's ridiculous because isn't there a river down at the bottom of it?
It's supposed to be.
So, but here's the thing. If you try to get up out of the Grand Canyon, then you could end up going up to a point where there is no water and you have to walk a long, long ways to get more water. So you would have to figure out a way to get the water out of the bottom and then take it to the top and blah, blah, blah. One of the things that I noticed that is a recurring theme, and there's, like I said, there's several different stories, but 4 in particular stick out. Now, one of them wasn't mine. It was given to me by another podcaster, YouTuber / whatever researcher, and said, hey, you can use it, just give me credit for it, but I haven't used it yet. And then the other 3 were given to me. Now, this one in particular is exceptionally weird. That's why I wanted to tell you. So he's up on this ledge and he's sleeping the first night he was there, and he had restless sleep. He felt weird. He said he couldn't get comfortable. His dog kept getting up and whimpering and whining, and he was just like, this isn't correct. Something's wrong here. And so he eventually gets out of, he breaks camp and he goes back down and he goes and he hikes further into this forbidden zone. And so he goes a full day and night just hiking. So I asked him, I said, how many hours do you think you walked? He said, probably 10, 12.
Oh, my gosh.
I said, so you were way deep into this thing. He said, oh, yeah, I was committed. I was very committed. And so what he was looking for is something that he probably shouldn't have been looking for because, and now I've said this before, and this is no knock on somebody who's in their 20s, but people in their 20s have friends that are in their 20s that are full of shit. And so a couple of friends of his that were in their 20s like him told him that they had seen these mummies, that they were up on this ledge, and that they had to go into this forbidden zone to look and observe these things. Now, here's what I asked him, and I had to ask him this question, and I didn't mean to be an asshole. But I told him, I said, Isaiah, these friends of yours, when did this happen? He said it was in 2015. I said, oh, yeah? They didn't have cameras back then? And he was like, yeah, I thought that was kind of sus. You know how they say sus, whatever. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, it's pretty suspect, yeah. And he says, yeah, they didn't really take any pictures of them. I'm like, okay, so they went into the Grand Canyon. They had all kinds of wackiness happen to them, but they have no pictures?
Yeah.
He said, well, they had pictures. but not of the mummies. I said, okay. So
So
See,
they
where
have
you
pictures
met-
of the Grand Canyon.
See, where he messed up is not asking his 20-something-year-old friends. You have to ask someone in their 20s, no cap. Because if you ask them cap or no cap, they have to tell you the truth. But they have to tell you whether it's cap or no cap. That's the Zoomer code.
Damn, fam, your Riz is off the charts.
Yeah, see? Like that. See? I know how to communicate with these people. They're strange people, but I can communicate with them. I'm hip. I'm down.
their
Right.
weird customs.
Yeah, you're 30 now.
You know, like the
you're
word
not a part of
Chad.
this
Boy,
anymore.
that's so Chad. And it
Yeah.
means like masculine or whatever. And
Yeah.
you're like, because I know 3 Chads and none of them are very masculine. They're all scrawny little wiry dudes that are just weak as hell. No offense to my friend's name Chad, but yeah, you know you are. But you know, it's very odd that his friends didn't take any pictures. So in the middle of this, I said, Isaiah, you went looking for something, and then he tells me, he says, well, I wasn't really just looking for that. I just wanted to go deep into there and see if it was true. But he said they did say that they had seen these mummies at a distance. So maybe that explains why they couldn't take the pictures, because they saw them up on a ledge, and they knew that they were mummies. They could tell,
Yeah.
right?
They
But
told 'em.
they weren't up high enough. They weren't able to climb up high enough to take the pictures. Okay. And so, yeah, no cap, bro. For real? No, for real. Okay. Cap my ass. Okay. And I told him, I said, I'm not real sure if I'm digging on this venture here. Okay. And he says, oh, I didn't do any digging. You know, because back in the day, before my time, they used to say, you dig?
Yeah.
That was in the 70s and 80s. And then when I was a kid, they stopped saying that. You know, and then it was on the serious tip. You know, like Run
yeah.
DMC.
You feel me? I think that was back then.
Yeah.
But you know, so you feel, you know, so you go into this story, and I believe him. I believe what he did, you know, because he's a young Zoomer idiot. No offense, I'm kidding. Actually, no, I think he's actually on the cusp. He's a millennial.
Yeah.
He's like me.
Yeah, he's right on the cusp, and so, but just as bad, if not worse. And so what? And I joked with him about it, you know, and he says, yeah, he goes. You know, I made a big mistake. I went in there, and he was running out of water, right? Because he was up on a ledge, and he just kept walking. Then he finds this cave entrance, and he decides to go into it. Well, when he was down below, he sees one entrance here and then another entrance. In his mind, he was thinking, you know, that he's going to walk out and just do like a U-turn, come out like a cartoon.
Yeah.
At least that's what I thought. I was like, so you really thought that you were just going to walk in and then you were going to go around in a half circle and come out, right? And he says, well, yeah. And I said, well, no, because that's not how it works. Okay. And so
How
he
caves
ended
work.
up going, he went into this cave, this cave, and it was carved out.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is like, he said, it's amazing that these things were made naturally. And I'm going like, they weren't.
Yeah, I don't believe that.
They weren't. He's like, well, that would explain that. I said, yeah, exactly. The walls are smooth. Somebody carved it out. And he says, well, the natives did this. I said, I don't think they did. I don't believe that.
Yeah. Because, I mean, were there even any native cultures that practiced mummification?
Yeah, there were. But those weren't native mummies, I can tell you that. So he walks through, he goes back around, and he goes out. And at this point, now, it didn't really matter. It's a moot point. He had one of those charging bricks that everybody thinks are so great. I have one. That had worn out, and his phone was dead. And I said, what was your plan? Were you planning on, you know, and he had no signal anyway. He goes, well, I wanted to find these mummies and take a good picture. And I told him, I said, that picture is worth nothing anyway because of AI.
I mean, he would have to drag it out of the canyon with him.
Yeah, well, the picture. He was going to take a picture.
Yeah, but his phone was dead, so was his battery.
Yeah, but
I was
he
going to say,
didn't-
like, that was,
it didn't matter. He wanted to take pictures, and then it didn't work out. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Long story short, so he goes into this cave, and as he's walking through the cave, he begins to hear whistling back and forth. He comes out into an opening, and he thought, well, I'm just going to go back the way I came. Well, when he turns back around, when he comes into the opening, there's like several spots, and he doesn't know which one he came out of. And he's sitting there going like, they all look the same. And he couldn't tell because they were all like little narrow passages. And so he starts walking through the one he's almost sure that he came out of. It wasn't the right one. Okay, so then he ends up going upwards, up like a gently slow, going up slope, and then it becomes almost like, work going up. And he's like, and then I realized, okay, I'm in the wrong place, but he wanted to keep going because he wanted to see where it led. And he thought that he saw another, entrance to a cave up, above the two holes that he had seen before. So he thought surely this was some sort of something. He found something. And at this point I asked him, and I wanted to be completely honest with me. And he wasn't at first, because I said, were you looking for treasure? And he said, no, I was just curious. I was just exploring. And I said, you sure you weren't looking for nothing valuable? He goes, well, if I found a few artifacts or something, I wasn't going to be
well, if it's already there.
Yeah. He was pretty adamant that if he found some things, he wasn't
lying around.
Yeah, he wasn't opposed to taking them.
Yeah. Nobody's gonna miss it.
I said, so you're a liar and a thief. I'm kidding. Yeah,
he's of British descent.
Busting your balls. I'm busting your balls.
Need to chase that bag, yo.
So he was up there. Got to get that paper.
Yeah,
paper ain't worth nothing.
Got that worthless fiat paper.
He's got to get his stacks up.
Yeah, get his stacks up. So he's walking up this steep incline, and then I said, because I asked him, I said, why'd you keep going? He says, I was already turned around. I wanted to see where it led. He goes, and then I saw light up at the top. So I kept going. He goes, and sure enough, I come out to the top, and there is a hole, but just barely big enough for my dog to fit out of. And I look out, and there's a steep drop down to the next ledge. So there's no way that this was going to take me anywhere. But then when I turn around, I hear this clicking noise, which he says it sounds like, and get this, somebody's teeth clicking together. And I said, like somebody or something. He goes, like maybe like an animal. And so then I thought about it, because our pig, he grinds his teeth together.
Yeah.
And I thought about it, and I thought, what if that's what he was hearing? And so, he does it all the time. Yeah. So I took the phone and I put it up to Truffles, and he did that, that grinding, clicking noise. And he was sitting there for a minute. I don't think he could hear me. And then he goes, you know what? That's it. That sounds kind of like that. I said, so you heard what could have been a wild hog, right? And he says, yeah, but it was weird. It was more like a human doing that, if that makes sense. And I said, not really, but kind of. So he goes back down, and then he hears the clicking noise, and he keeps hearing it. And then he hears what he could have swore was a conversation happening between two males going across what was water. There was like what he thought it was shallow, but he wasn't for sure. He threw a rock into it, and he heard the boom. So he knew it wasn't as shallow as he thought it was. But he said, I was pretty sure I could probably get across it. And it stretched from one side to the other. And there was another exit or entrance, whatever, going further deeper into this cave. And he heard what he said, a language he couldn't understand. And it was very just very one syllable, like that. And I said, okay, so then you got the hell out of there. He goes, no. And I was like, at this point, I'm like, okay, why did you not just try to go? Because he goes, like I said, I didn't know exactly which exit I'd come out of. And get this, and this is a real thing. He was suffering from exhaustion, and his brain, I don't think his brain was working correctly.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it was working correctly to begin with, because he made bad mistakes, but that comes from being 25. So, when he turned back around and he tried to walk out, he finally got through. One of them just went several feet into the wall, and that was it. The other one, he finally got out, and he was able to get back out onto the ledge to where he was at. And he said, dude, I just was like, I was curious. I wanted to see how to get around to the other side. He goes, and then I kind of figured it out. He's like, I walked into the other entrance when I got out onto the ledge, and I was like, why the hell did you do that? But he was determined. He goes, dude, you don't understand me, man. He goes, I really was determined to find something. He goes, and my friends had told me that they had seen these mummies up on a ledge, like they were laying on these like wooden, like whatever, pallets. And so, yeah, well, maybe our father's child.
I was gonna say.
But he's decided to go, up into this cave, and he went inside of it. Now, this one took him around to the left, and then it did a dead end, and then it came out, and there was like this little clearing, and you could go over this ledge where there was what looked like, like he said, it was like this wall that kept you kind of like a terrace, not a terrace, a balcony. And I said, do you believe that was created like by somebody, or do you think that was natural? And he said, I don't know. I'm like, okay, that is not natural. Nobody's going to make a balcony with a little wall there and a fence. The way he described it was like straight across. I said, there are no straight lines, man. Trust me. Okay? There's not. The world was created through vibration. Okay? So he goes across this, and looks down. At this point, he sees this wispy image. This is the first thing he actually saw, was a wispy image that he described looked like the Grim Reaper kind of come out of the wall, from the wall below him, and just kind of like drifted across and then began to float up, and then it scared him. So then he ran the other direction, out back where he came from, back out into the ledge, and he freaked out because he saw what he thought was a ghost. When he got out of that particular spot, he decided to rappel himself down and just get himself out of there. Yeah, I would not doubt that, Artistic Bunny. It's probably what it was. And so when I asked him what it was, he said, I don't know, man, like the Grim Reapers. I said, so it was death. Do you think it was, a sign, that says, hey, maybe you should get the hell away from here and hike your ass back? No. He goes back down. I told him this was going to be brutal. This is going to be hard to talk about. So when he goes back down, he gets to the bottom of this hill, because it was up on a slope. He gets down the bottom. He says, I decided to pitch camp, about a mile or two up the road, up the road being like, by the river or whatever. He pitches camp. Middle of the night, he hears splashing in the water, which sounds like feet splashing, whatever, human feet. Mm-hmm. He turns and he looks and he sees what he says were two Indians. Those were his exact words. He said they looked like natives. And I said, like, and of course I had to ask this, and I don't know what he's going to say. And I said, like, what kind? And he goes, well, the kind you see in the movies. I promise I'm not messing with you. Isaiah, I am not trying to put the bag on you. He's probably pissed off. Look, this is hard.
Those are real?
Before we continue,
I saw that movie. I thought it was bullshit.
Well, let's before we continue with anything, I think you sound like a great guy, Isaiah. Let's just start with that. You sound like a cool guy.
I'll be right back.
It's just, I've never, I used to hate horror movies because I thought, why would you make those decisions? Why would you ever do anything like that? And I'm happy to know, Isaiah, that you give those movies credence. Once again, like I said, we don't know you personally, so we're not going to make fun of you personally, but your decisions are horrendous, and I think you've ignored every warning that was ever given to you. And I can't believe it.
I mean, yeah, look, it's by the grace of God that you made it out of there to tell that story, and we're probably not even halfway through it. I'm really enjoying it. So I mean, on a certain level, I'm grateful. Well, not just me, we all are. Everyone listening, we're grateful that that you went through that. Although I'm sure it's really tough for you to tell us, to share. But thank you for that. But yeah, just take it with a grain of salt. I mean, it is funny, like to say, like.
I hope you can laugh at yourself too.
Just like in the movies.
This has to be a learning lesson for you. Bro.
I don't know if you've seen The Sopranos, but there's that line reminds me of this dude named Christopher Moltisanti, where you know what scene I'm talking about, right? Like when Paulie's telling him about the Cuban Missile Crisis, and Chris is like, "That was real? I saw that movie. I thought it was bullshit." But yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing more. But
you know what's funny too? It's like this dude's looking around for treasure, and I'm like, you found cave systems that are perfectly lined up, perfectly built, and you don't think like this is the goal here? Like this is all I need to find? Like
Well, I think he wanted
something tangible.
I think he wanted to find some stuff, and honestly, what he told me wasn't about, and I believe him on this one. I don't think it was about him trying to make a bunch of money off of the treasure. I got permission to say this because I mean we're not, you know, they don't know this guy. I mean, but he wanted to make a discovery, you know, to kind of help the world. And I'll say this about those the older millennials in particular, the young, or I'd say the young millennials, older Zoomers, they tend to be more dreamer-like. You know, they want to do something and help humanity. They've been brought up on the idea that, you know, everybody has a carbon footprint and that we all need to like stop breathing air and drinking water because we're destroying the earth.
Need to eat bugs to change the weather.
And that we should all die. Yeah, but it's for the greater good. It's for the greater good. Hold your head up high and unalive yourself, right?
Like he sounds like a fun guy. Just I wouldn't trust him with my
He's not a
life.
bad kid. I mean,
I wouldn't trust him with my life.
I know what it's like to
he's not a kid.
to
but
kind of
he's-
like be driven to explore and see what's to be seen. But like, there's a limit for me. Like,
Well,
for
let
me,
me
it's
finish
like,
the
I want to get to the
limit.
top of that hill and then
Well,
I'll go home.
I was just gonna say real quick, like you know what this all sounds like to me?
Shade says Indian Jones.
Skavens.
Oh yeah,
rat-like chittering. And
Yeah.
Just the
Yeah.
weird noising.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so what ended up happening here? Let's not bag on him too much, okay? Because this isn't about making fun of him. But it is. I even said, I was like, this is, you know, at some point I would have been like, the hell with this.
Way
I don't
earlier.
give a shit what we're supposed to discover. My self-preservation has to take over. You know, and so, but that's the difference, though. That's the difference between me and some people, you know. And so what he did was to keep going. So he wakes up in the middle of the night, and he says 3 or 4 in the morning, right? And he did have a watch. At least he had that and a compass. And so he looks and he sees it's like 3:30 in the morning, and there's these 2 natives that are walking on water. Literally walking on water. He says the river's flowing right there, but he said that they were moving across it and they were talking, and they walked up to him and they were looking at him and they were observing him, and he thought to himself, did I just see these 2 men dressed? He thought they were dressed like natives. He figured they were natives for real, but that they were dressed like from the old days, as he said, which would have been, you know, who knows. And he said, you know, that they were talking to one another and observing him. And one of them had an arrow like this, had it down, not pointed at him, but was like, you know. And he was like, dude, and he put up his hands like, hey, hey, hey. And he goes, I turn and I have this like little lantern thing, little torch-like thing, you know, that I used. And I went and I was going to use it to light it up so I could see them better. And I turned and they were gone. And he said that at that point, you know, he said when he woke up the next day, he just sat there and he was contemplating what he had been through, what he had done, and he heard a shriek coming from the other side of the canyon, and he thought that maybe the people that he maybe had disturbed something. He goes, I don't know why it just popped into my head that maybe what I did was disturbed something by going into those caves. Mm-hmm. He said he felt a very ominous feeling. He said he's always been able to feel energy and understand these kind of things. And people always say that, but there's some people that really do feel that. And he said, and I could feel it. I could feel that there was something not correct about the energy in that cave. He was like, it was evil, and I had to get the hell out of there. And so he said, but my curiosity kept leading me further and further astray, you know. And so, my words, but that's what he was saying. And so one of the things that really messed him up was he decided, you know what, I'm going to move back the other way. I'm going to go back the way I came before I run out of food, because he was running out of food. He said, I'm a thin guy. I don't eat a whole lot. And he said that he hears us talk about Tony not eating, because I told him Tony doesn't eat hardly at all. He says, it's kind of like me. So you got a kindred spirit there, Tony.
No, I'd survive in the Grand Canyon for a week.
So Tony's got somebody that what happened to your face right there? What
Oh
is
yeah,
it?
it's my glasses.
They cut you or something?
Yeah, that little.
Oh, is it rubbing on your eye too much?
No, this little piece broke on this side.
Why don't you get some
Oh.
new ones? What are you doing?
It's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
a little piece. It's a shame to lose these glasses. I mean,
You could just get another pair the same way.
I'm just gonna get another one of these pieces. You
From
just put the
where?
Glasses. They sell these. They sell that little nose piece
Okay, how long has that been missing?
for like a day.
Oh, okay.
Well, whatever.
Anyway,
Do what you got to do. Do whatever you got to do, man. Zoomers, right? Anyways, so the dude decides that he's going to go back the way he came. He gets really tired about halfway, from there, between there and I guess the how far he had traveled the day before. He was making way less time. Let's put it that way. He goes, I'd only traveled about half the distance. The day before, I had walked all this way, and I was walking back, and I had no energy. And I was running out of food. He goes, now there was water because there was a river right there, but I was dying of food. I didn't eat a whole lot. He goes, but I was almost out of everything I had. And he said, I had a few little things, left to eat, but I was between me and my dog. We weren't getting a lot of sustenance. And he says, eventually, he goes, I had to sit down, and I was starting to have to take breaks. And he goes, I could walk 10 hours a day, and it wouldn't bother me. He's like, but at this point, I just couldn't do it anymore. So I was sitting down, and I was sitting there, and I fell asleep. He goes, the next thing you know, I wake up, and it's at night. And he said he's being shaken awake by, this man. He wakes up, he goes, I see this man there. And he's like, he's got this reddish blonde beard, and he's got this old beat up cowboy hat, and he looks gaunt. And his eyes look sunken in. He goes, it wasn't like he didn't have eyes, because I asked that. He said he had eyes, but they were sunken in his head. And he was like, young man, you need to get out of here. You need to get out of here. He goes, you need to get up and start walking back the way you came and get out of here. And so he asked the guy, he's like, who are you? What's your name? And the guy says, don't worry about my name. Don't worry about who I am. He's like, just get yourself out of here. He goes, come on. And he started helping him, picking his stuff up and getting him. And he's like, hey, wait, well, hold on. I'm really tired. And he goes, look. He goes, I got some food. And he tells him, he says, right there, down about 3 miles up the road from here, up the river from here. He's like, I got something for you. Go up in there. There's a little spot right there where somebody left some cans. And there's a can opener there. Just go and you can eat, get you some energy, whatever. He says, and he goes, how do you know this? He goes, I watched them do it. They left their food there. He said, well, who are they? Are they going to come back for it? He goes, they're not coming back.
Oh.
They're gone. And he's like, oh, okay. And he's like, so they left the canyon? He goes, sorta. And he was like, that wasn't very comforting, right?
left this mortal coil.
And so then he says, look, I don't want you to end up like so many other people I've seen. He says, they're coming for you. And at this point, he says, Wolf, I was scared to death. I'm shaking. And I'm like, who's coming for me? And then he hears what sounds like a cross between a wolf howling and how like a cougar shriek sounds. Now, I asked him this, and I said, okay, because Isaiah has already told me a bunch of stuff that I thought was not correct to do. And so I told him, I said, do you know what a cougar sounds like? He says, yes. I looked it up, and I listened to the sounds, and it literally sounds like if you took a hog squealing, a big cat shrieking, and a wolf howling, it was all that mixed into one. And he says, dude, at that point, I go, okay. And so he goes, I'm walking behind this guy who I noticed had a weird pallor to him. Like, that's my words. He said he was almost glowing. And so I was like, wait a minute. I said, okay, I've seen this before. When I was at the Devil's Backbone, I've talked about this story. I really, fully, truly, honestly believe we picked up a ghost. Now, I've taken these two to that tavern, and you saw the picture of the guy. He's deceased. Mm-hmm. And I said, that's the guy we gave a ride to. My brother, I don't know where he's at. I don't know if he's in the chat or what. But me and my brother, my friend Spike, and my friend Loco, my friend Cal, we all gave this guy a ride. By the light of the moon, he was glowing. I'm not joking. He had like a blue pallor to him. I believed at that point that there was something different about the guy. We dropped him off at what he said was his mother's bar, but it was an old dilapidated building. It used to be a bar. It was no longer a bar. When we went back up there to the bar that was the current bar, we talked to the bartender who said that that man had been deceased. And so when he started telling me about the way this guy glowed by the light of the moon, and I said, what time was it? He said, I remember looking down as I was walking behind him. I don't know exactly what time it was he woke me up, but it was 11:02. He says, I remember that. I looked down and I was like, it's 11:02. He's like, and I'm like, this guy is literally like he's glowing. So he's walking behind this man, right? And when this guy takes him close to the spot, he says, it's right over there. He's like, right there, and there's like a little dirt right there. You just move it away. There's a little cubby right there. These guys stashed their food there. And he said, these guys, he said, yeah, there were two guys. And he's like, well, what happened to them? He goes, don't worry about that. They're gone. Just, there's some food there. And so he goes, okay. So he goes over there, and he moves, and exactly like he said, there were some cans that were stashed there, and they were in what looked like a backpack. And he said that it was just an old satchel that had been there for who knows how long, and he found a couple cans of food. One was Vienna sausages, and then he had some like pork and beans and something else. I can't remember what he said, but he said, dude, I found like three cans of food. I found a can opener, you know. He said it didn't work real well. I had to really struggle. He's like, but I got it open, I got it going, and I didn't have anything to eat it with. You know, he goes, I just ate it with my hands. He's like, but it was enough to get me going, you know, and I drank some water, and I just decided to keep going. He goes, but the weird thing, he's like, while I'm sitting there digging for this, I turned to say something to the guy who never gave me his name. He was gone. He goes, and I look, there's nowhere for this guy to go. If he keeps walking along the canyon wall, he's like, I would have seen him on either side. So either he jumped into the water and I didn't hear it and he drowned, or something. He goes, I don't know what, but the guy was gone. He goes, so then, get this. This is the weirdest, not the weirdest, but one of the weirdest parts about this. At this point, he goes, I get really sleepy after eating all that food. He goes, and then I wake up. After I eat the food, I wake up, and I'm laying there, and I'm in the same spot that I had been in before. I had never gotten up. There was no guy. I didn't walk, and there was no food there. There was nothing.
What? So it was just like a dream?
It was like a dream. He goes, but it was so real. He goes, it was so freaking real. He goes, I could have swore, my hand to the Bible, because I could have swore that it was real, that it was not a dream. But this really happened. So then he says, you know what? I get up and I grab my backpack and I thought, oh man. He goes, and my stomach is hurting from being so hungry. And he's like, so he just starts walking. And he says, about 2 or 3 miles up the road, he goes, sure enough, I go to this spot where I thought that I had seen, in the dream,
the food,
where there was food. He goes, and this little piece of what looked like sagebrush just kind of fell out in front of me. And I looked and I was like, you could see where somebody had like hidden with like a big dirt clod, something behind there. So he goes running over there and he starts tearing the dirt away. And sure enough, there is the beige satchel with the cans of food, just like he had dreamed, except the can opener he actually got it, opened it up, and it worked. I mean, he goes, there was no struggle, nothing. He goes, and it wasn't. He goes, it wasn't just Vienna sausages. He goes, there was like several cans of food there. And he's like, oh, good, this will be enough to, Smurfy. And so he said, this will be enough to get me through. And so he goes, so I grabbed it, I stuck it all in my backpack and my bag, whatever. He goes, and then I just kept going. He said, and more than once, he almost got bit by a scorpion. And of course, he said, dude, I saw tarantulas, scorpions, snakes, all kinds of stuff. He told me shortly after that, he sat down to take a break after he ate the food because he gorged himself, which was a mistake because then he felt sick. He said, and he goes, I put my hand down like this, and I hear, and I look over, and right next to my hand, about a foot away, is a rattler, and it's reared up, and it's just like this, moving around. He goes, and so I just sat there, and my dog goes around the other side, starts barking. And at first, I was pissed off, and I was like, he's like, Red, why are you barking? Why are you doing this? Blah, blah, blah. And he goes, and the dog saved me. He goes, because the snake turned and struck at my dog. The dog jumped back. He goes, I got up, grabbed my backpack. And he goes, and at that point, I went and I as close to the water as I could. And me and my dog took off, and we just left it there. And luckily, he didn't get attacked or he didn't get bit by this rattler. And so he goes, I kept going, and I kept walking. He goes, and then I hear this noise, the shrieking, howling, whatever noise that I had heard that I thought was a dream. No, it was real. He's like, and I look over on the other side of the water. He goes, and there's this thing running alongside me. And he goes, and I'll never forget it. He goes, it was like the size of like a mountain lion. And it actually looked like a mountain lion, but the back of this thing looked like the skin had been pulled back and you could see the spine.
Wow.
And he goes, and the spine had these like sharp teeth like coming off of the back of it. They looked like how a shark's teeth were, and they were all in one
direction.
And yeah, one direction. He said it looked like a tiger shark's teeth, like the way it was shaped.
Like the fin, but just like multiple.
Yeah, like like a tiger shark's teeth. Mm-hmm. And he said that it was like they were kind of like jaggedy looking, whatever, and they were kind of curved. And he was like, what in the hell am I looking at? And he goes, and I'm realizing this is some sort of weird like animal that I had never seen before. I mean, he goes, this was bizarre. I thought maybe somebody had taken one of these animals and tortured it or something and turned it into this whatever, but it would have been dead. He said this thing was not dead. It was definitely alive. It had some sort of energy, controlling it. And he's like, and it was walking the other side of this river. And he goes, and I'm looking at it, and he keeps going to the river and then running back like it didn't want to try to cross the water. Even though at certain spots it easily could have because the water wasn't moving that fast or that deep in certain spots. And he goes, and I was thinking, sure enough, this thing's going to cross over and it's going to try to kill me. Mm-hmm. So he's like, I just kept walking. I just kept going. And the thing was right across the river from me. He goes, and so every time I took a step, it took a step. He goes, and then I noticed the head was this weird looking thing. He goes, I couldn't tell whether it was a cat or a dog or a pig or what it was. He's like, and then sometimes it just kept paralleling me. He goes, and then sometimes I thought that it was a pig. And then I thought, no, it's not. It's a dog, or it's like a wolf, or it's a mountain lion. But he never could put his finger on what it was. Sometimes it looked like one of the three, different things, a cat, dog, or cat, canid, or whatever, or a pig. He's like, and I couldn't figure out what it was. So I just kept going. And he's like, the further and further in I went away from, those caves, he's like, I got more and more comfortable, but I was not comfortable with this thing across the river from me. And at some point, maybe this thing taking its shot and just running across. He goes, but it seemed to be afraid of the water. He goes, and another thing I noticed, it never stopped to drink water. He goes, me and my dog, Red, we stopped to drink water, and we were looking at it the whole time. He goes, and I even stopped and I ate. But this thing, it would just sit there across the river looking at me and just kind of put its weird-looking paws. He didn't have hooves, so that would say it probably wasn't a pig. But he said it had like these weird paws, and it would just put its head on it and would stare at him. And the eyes looked like they had been like cut, and the skin was pulled back to make it look like the eyes were bigger than they were. He goes, it was like something had hurt this thing and turned it into some sort of monster, And so he said, I don't know what it was. It was just weird. He goes, and then I hear this shrieking noise coming from up above, and I look up. He goes, and I see these two beings. He goes, and they were definitely humanoid, and they were scaling down the side of a cliff face on the other side of the river. And this thing got up and was looking at them and began to make this weird growling, howling noise, and they were whistling back at it like it knew them. He goes, and these beings, he goes, they were hairy, kind of like a Bigfoot, but it wasn't fur. It was like hair. They were more like giant humans, and they had long black hair. And he said they were more like humans coming down this wall. The way they came down it too was unnatural. He goes, they were just able to they were sticking to it. You know? And he's like, dude, at that point, I just took off running. He's like, and I felt like I had enough energy because I used to be a long-distance runner in high school. He goes, and so I just decided, you know what, I'm just going to take off. And I took off running. So he just kept going and running and running. And he said that I looked back, and sure enough, these things, I could see them. They were like this big in my rear view. I just go and I'd look back, and they're small. I put them in my rear, and I just kept running. And he goes, and I didn't stop until it was like almost daylight. And he goes, and I just could not for the life of me, bring myself to calm down. He goes, I was having the biggest panic attack on earth, and I was just like, when I would stop, all I could do is run around in circles. It was, my heart felt like it was beating out of my chest. He goes, my heart rate must have been 130. He's like, and I just couldn't stop. He goes, and this was sitting still, you know. And he said that eventually he heard this noise, this talking, whatever. He says, and as I began to come out of into where the canyon kind of widens, you know, he's like, I started to realize that I was getting closer and closer to getting out of the forbidden zone where you're not supposed to go. He goes, and sure enough, I eventually see these signs, and I just keep going, and then I get around this one bend. He goes, and that is when I saw this weird-looking creature on the other side, which was not the same as the two giant humanoids or the weird cat, pig, dog, whatever, man, bear, pig, whatever the hell it was. He said this thing looked how you would describe one of these dogmen. Like, he's like, what, it just absolutely looked like a werewolf-looking creature. He goes, and it was crouched down, and it had its hands like this, like down on its knees. He's like, and it was like holding dirt. He goes, and it had the head, everything, like a werewolf. But it was very, it didn't look gross and weird and bizarre like you would think of as like a skinwalker. Because I asked, I said, do you think it might have been a skinwalker? He says, no, I don't know. I don't think so. He said it looked like a, you know, like it looked very well put together. Like it didn't look dirty. It didn't look like, you know, you hear of like them looking bizarre or deformed or anything like that. And she said it looked almost like a perfect drawing of like a really cool werewolf. He's like, and then I noticed this thing had something around its neck. It was wearing like a type of necklace, and at the base or the middle of the necklace was this like triangular, this upside down triangle, but that it looked like turquoise. He goes, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, what in the hell? And he said, this thing looks at me, and then it stands up, and he goes, and when it stood up, then I realized like how big it really was. He's like at least 8 foot tall. And he's like, and at that point, I'm thinking, am I hallucinating? Am I seeing all these things, or is there something, I'm, something's wrong?
Yeah, what the heck's going on?
Yeah. And so he's like, man, I must be, just the heat's getting to me. Even though it was like, early fall, he's like, it was just maybe I was, running too much or whatever. At that point, he hears these, whatever they were, these two beings with this weird looking animal. He hears them coming up. And this thing goes and like ducks down and gets behind some brush and is just kind of hidden. And he said, when I'm looking at this thing, I'm thinking, only reason I know that it's there is because I saw it do it. Mm-hmm. He goes, otherwise it was perfectly camouflaged. He goes, and I'm thinking, wow. So he goes, that tells me, when I've heard these stories of these things not being seen, he goes, they're in this brush and people take pictures and there they are. Mm-hmm. He goes, that thing was so freaking hidden. He goes, there's no way you would spot it. He goes, and I'm sitting there going like, am I seeing what I'm thinking I'm seeing? And then he goes, and I look, and here come these two. The only way he could describe them, and it's funny because he said they look like hill giants. He said they came running up, and they were like looking around, and their hair, he said they had these really bad receding hairlines, and they looked really old in the face. They had like wrinkles under their eyes, and they had these weird, like nasty looking teeth. And he goes, they were like looking around. He goes, and I had hidden on the other side. He goes, and I could see this wolf-like thing staring at me. I could see one of its eyes, like part of its face, and it's staring at me. And these two things walk right past it. But this weird dog, cat-like thing went right over to the bush where this thing was and immediately jumped into the bush. And then these things started like fighting or whatever it was they do. And he goes, next thing you know, the two giant things go over there and try to assist whatever that thing was, the wolf cat thingy with the weird back. He goes, and while that's going on, he's like, I just take off running again. He goes, and I ran and I ran and I ran until it was almost dark. And at that point, I get to the trail where, I could exit. And so then I take off and I go up the trail, and he goes, and I hike up, to the top, and I get out of there. He goes, and then from there, it's about a 4 or 5 mile hike to my vehicle. He's like, and it's his truck. And eventually he just kept walking and walking and walking, and he kept looking back and looking back. And his dog had pretty much given up. His dog was like his feet were just all tore up and messed up or whatever because, the dog didn't have shoes. And he's like, and I think my dog like stepped on something and his foot was cut. And so he goes, at this point, I'm carrying my dog, which is half dead. He goes, and I put it in the truck, and I get in there, and I have more water and supplies in there, and I get, I drink, whatever, and I get in my truck, and I take off. He goes, well, to get out of there, it's another, like, several-mile drive just to get back to this, it's a trail, to get back to this dirt road, which takes you to the main county road, which takes you to the highway. So he goes, I'm driving along, he goes, and I see this thing moving alongside my truck. He goes, and when I look at it, I look over and I'm like, what in the hell is that? He said, and it looked like, he goes, the only way I could describe it is, if you ever seen like the way the Egyptians look, he said, when they have like the little headdresses and the weird skirt-looking loincloth type thingies that they wear. He says, and then he goes, I see this thing running alongside my vehicle and then just dart off into the brush. And I'm like, what in the hell was that? And so he says it literally looked like how you would see like these Egyptians when they're working or doing whatever, or they're carrying like the pharaohs and, So he's trying to tell me all of this, and I'm like, what in the hell was that? And he's like, I don't know. He's like, I have no clue. He's like, but it was running alongside my truck. He goes, so then I finally get out of there. I get home. He's like, and he lives in Utah, but he says, I finally got home. And he's like, and then he goes, for days. And he's like, I just had these weird dreams. He goes, and then about a month goes by. He's like, and then I get visited by what's I can only describe as some sort of like werewolf type entity that's all black. It's just like a black, whatever, inky black thing that shows up in his house. He goes, and it's like vibrating in the corner of my room. He goes, and I'm in the process of moving. He goes, I'm like going to another place. And the house that I was in, he goes, I was going to an apartment because the girl that I was with, we had split up or whatever. He goes, and I'm like thinking, what am I looking at? And so he gets up and it's dark and he's not sure what he's looking at. So he clicks on the light and thinks, oh, once the light goes on, it's going to go away. No, it's still very much there. He goes, and it is like in the form of like Anubis. It looks like an Anubis type being. And so he tells me, he goes, dude, I don't know what the hell this is or why it's in my house. He goes, but then I just started praying. I got down like on my knees, literally, and I didn't close my eyes. He goes, I know I should have been just completely focused on God, but I was focused on that. But I kept praying and asking Jesus to help me, save me from this, whatever this is. He goes, and whatever it was, it looked like it was starting to vibrate and come into, like it was entering our world. You know what I mean? Like it was coming from another whatever. And then eventually he's like, I stopped praying because I hear this popping noise and I look around the room and it's gone. And then he goes, and then that was it. I never had any other problems. He goes, I move into an apartment further into the city. He's like, and I have no more issues. Nothing has happened again since that last weird thing or whatever. He did say, now, of course, this is St. Benedict, and I talked to him about that, and I said, do you carry anything for protection? And he said, on the advice, he goes, of you and Rick Atterstein, I actually started wearing the St. Benedict. He's like, having watched that particular live, and he's like, so, a lot to unpack, a lot of weird stuff happened to this guy, and so I asked him, and I said, Isaiah, are you 100% sure? 100% sure that none of this could have been a hallucination or that you were having fever dreams or anything like that? He goes, no, I can't tell you 100%. I don't know. He's like, but I was hoping that you or maybe somebody in your listeners, somebody from your team could give me some sort of idea about what I may have seen or encountered on that trip. So if you have any questions or if you have any comments about this, and I'm sorry for cracking on you. We weren't trying to, but I would say it's a series of unfortunate events that it was more like a series of unfortunate choices.
Yeah.
That kind of led to this happening. Because I can tell you, there were many points in time in that story that I would not have done any of that crap.
Yeah.
I think I would have stopped right when I saw Forbidden Zone, don't enter. I would have been like, oh, shoot.
That would have been the end of it.
You got me.
Yeah, he said, fortune favors the bold. And I said, yeah, but misfortune favors the dumbass.
Fortune favors the alive, too, I think.
Yeah, it helps to be alive, that's for sure.
I will say, people like him, find stuff. Explorers, basically. You know, they do discover stuff, but that's not worth it for me. I don't think it is.
Yeah. So what are the comments here? Y'all look it up here.
I do agree, Amy. Forbidden Zone does sound worse than no trespassing.
Well, so what native tribe? What tribes like would be native to that area anyway? I mean, because like it's. I mean, like I'm pretty sure that it's not them who carved out those caves
No, I don't
like
think
that.
so.
But I mean, like, he did see two like indigenous Native American people, whether it was two real people or two like entities, spirits of them.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like what kind of people would they be though?
Well, there's like a dozen different tribes. I mean,
Grand Canyon is quite big.
And if they didn't make those caves, then who did?
well, I don't know.
And like those mummies, I mean, if none of the tribes in that area practice mummification, then where did they come from?
I mean, in the Grand Canyon, you have the Navajo, you have the Hopi, the Paiute, but there's different types of Paiute. I mean, I have no clue, man. I couldn't tell you. I'm taking my shots here, folks. They're juice land.
Jules.
Can't on you guys while I take my shots.
I mean, this is probably one of the craziest stories I've heard. And I you know what the most bizarre thing to me the whole time? Like, all this was happening, and he has a dog with him.
Yeah, that poor dog went through hell.
Yeah.
I mean, there's different types of Apache there. You got the Paiute, you got the Navajo, the Hopi, the Zuni. You can put the camera back on. You got the I'm sorry, I don't want to sit here and do this like you know while I'm. You have the Zuni. Look it up. I mean, you could probably look it up. Just look up natives near the Grand Canyon.
No, his shots are these 3 drinks that are health.
There's 4 of them.
4 drinks. It's just a little drink. We just call them shots because they're kind of small.
Yeah, they're like this one here is. It's got lemon, ginger, turmeric. My enemies will be like, he was drinking shot or booze on the show. He's not a good Christian.
He was doing drugs.
This is the only one that tastes good. This one has
Which one?
CBD, lemon, ginger, and then it's got some blue algae.
Oh, Blue Dream.
Well, the blue magic it's called blue magic. It's got some different types of algae.
Yeah, that one's really good.
Yeah, so there's Hopi, Havasupai, Navajo, Hualapai, Paiute, and Zuni. People who live in were native to the Grand Canyon area.
Mm-hmm. So I got a few of them. Mm-hmm. But yeah, because we did go over what these natives look like, but he couldn't give me anything that would distinguish them from any other tribe. So,
But those giants, though, what the heck were those? They're like remnants of like Nephilim that are just like living in this isolated pocket of the earth that nobody goes to.
well, the lady we were talking about earlier, Shauna,
Mm-hmm.
she had basically told us that her and her current her ex-boyfriend, not the current boyfriend, she was very adamant about that they're not together anymore, and good reason. This was one of the first things he did wrong was he left her. Mm-hmm. She stayed with him after that, though. I was like, okay. So you go to work. So you go to the Grand Canyon, and now one of the things that they saw was a giant looking being, but it was really dark. Their story was not nearly as crazy as this one, but there again, you know, they saw something that looked just absolutely bizarre, and it was, but it kind of like dissipated, and then at another time they saw one moving, and it didn't, like you could see through it. It didn't look solid. You know, it was like gray, but it had like hair all over it. Like these things were hairy, but they were definitely giant. They didn't look Bigfoot-like.
Like troglodytes.
Yeah, like troglodytes. Yeah.
Sound like ogres.
There was a movie like there was a movie. Do you remember the movie Bone Tomahawk?
Yes.
Yeah, with Kurt Russell, where they found these like troglodyte tribes.
Yeah, and they had some kind of weird where they would blow through their necks or something.
Yeah, like they did something to their vocal cords or whatever. It was like a thing where they could make some kind of roar.
Why do these numbers jump around
I don't
on
think-
Sunday?
That's weird.
You know, whenever we do StreamYard, it seems like it doesn't do that.
Yeah, I don't know what it
It
is.
seems like it does
telling
it
you,
on
YouTube.
Is it? Yeah, but I mean, maybe it's. Do you think it could? I don't know how this works exactly. You know more than I do, but could it be? What is this one called?
Streamlabs.
Maybe it's Streamlabs.
It could be. I mean, I don't know.
Tingu Rose says anything near Flagstaff is going to be spooky. Hell yeah. Flagstaff is definitely.
So he saw like some kind of like like Egyptian looking people down there, right? That's what you said.
Well, he saw one like running alongside him.
But like, why would they?
Was it a person?
Like, what's the connection there? I mean, like, has there been? Have there been Egyptian artifacts found in that area?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what's weird is like I think like he dealt with two groups there, where like he first messed with the Ogre Hill tribe, whatever the heck they are, the Hills Have Eyes tribe,
Yeah.
and then as he was leaving, I think like this is what always fascinates me is the inner workings of these paranormal these cryptids, how they interact with each other. But it sounds like he then, as he was leaving, encountered the other group that was probably in the area, and since like it was on the outskirts, I wonder if like one group watches the other, or like if he keeps an eye on the other. And it sounds like when that dogman died, kind of like saving his life, it marked him somehow, because as soon as he left, that Egyptian dude came, like basically like said like, oh, I think it was this guy, and then he left, and then he came back home, and then Anubis came to him. So it was like he first met these guys, and then ran into another group on accident, got that guy killed, or something happened to him, or they had an altercation between the two of them. And as he was leaving, he was marked by that second group. So like,
What guy got killed? What are you talking about?
that dogman,
If that's what that was.
or whatever the heck that was. I mean,
But I mean, like, I don't think that creature got into a fight specifically to save his life.
no,
No,
that's obviously
okay.
not. That's obviously not what happened.
What happened with
But-
that situation was it just opportunistic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so if erosion is not what created the Grand Canyon, then what did? Because maybe the circumstances of what created that area is why it's such a strange place of like this spiritual power.
There are a lot of theories. Some people believe that the Grand Canyon. Looking at the numbers on the phone, it says only 500 on here. See that?
Yeah, and it says 500 on mine too.
That's so weird.
Just jumping around.
Now it's saying 541. That says 541 on there.
There's a hurricane guy.
Yeah, the hurricane's coming. But you know what's really shocking to me is that he had so much different phenomena happen in a short period of time, and in most places you'll have people tell you that they have a story. This, but but you got to remember though too, he was there for almost a week.
Mm-hmm.
So he was down in there for quite a while. It wasn't just like one thing after another on the same day. This all took place over, like, I think he said, like, it was over a week, like 8 days.
And he's also in, like, the one place where you would, like, these creatures would expect to be able to roam freely. And, like...
Well, yeah, because they're not used to people being in there.
That's forbidden. Like, no one's allowed in there.
Yeah. So, and there's probably a reason. And I asked him that, too. I was like, did you see any other humanity at all? He said, nope.
No signs of life anywhere.
No sort of, like...
I'm curious to know exactly how many things he encountered. Exactly how many different groups.
I didn't count them, but you can count them.
I mean, you can count them, but, like, I wonder how many of them are, like, different groups. Like those hill tribe giant things, and obviously...
Well, that cat thing was hunting with them.
Yeah, so that they're obviously together.
I think they were going to eat him.
But the chittering thing, I wonder if that's something different.
That was in the caves.
Yeah, I wonder if that was something different. What if that was something that lives in the caves? And then there's that spectre ghost thing. The Grim Reaper. The Grim Reaper, yeah.
I think all this stuff is different. Like I think there's not that they're unrelated, but they're independent phenomena. But they're there for like the same reason, or for the same reason. Mm-hmm. Like they're utilizing the same. Whatever is there is like that's. They're drawn there to that, to the same thing.
Yeah, I don't know. Somebody just said, "How did you drop 100 people in 2 minutes?" I have no idea.
Well, now it's back up to 529.
You tell me. It's YouTube. This happens every Sunday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's why I said maybe we should try using StreamYard and see what happens.
Yeah.
Barry says, I think these missing people at Grand Canyon are eaten. Well,
or enslaved.
That's
I mean,
very
who
possible.
Knows? Or, I mean, this is the scary possibility based on what happened to that cat thing, like, experimented on. I mean, it sounds like they messed with that cat thing to turn into something else. So they're obviously used to just...
That cat, the deformed cat thing reminds me of, did you ever see that movie Annihilation?
Yeah, the bear?
Yeah, with that bear.
What is it?
Do you remember that movie Annihilation with the Natalie Portman, where like this alien meteorite or thing strikes the Earth, and it starts like changing all living things around it, plants and animals, and it like changes them into something else. And there's this bear that it like it's still alive, but it changes it into like this like hideous monstrosity with like it looks like it's been skinned and
Did
deformed.
we watch this together?
I thought that you and Nelly had watched it. Y'all might not remember it.
Annihilation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It basically just was like constant mutation.
It created this huge like zone where every living thing was, like Tony said, mutated into something else.
At the I don't remember exactly,
like
but at the end
there was like a
there was like
doppelganger.
there was like this something that was mimicking her.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and like that thing that was mimicking her was like refracting light everywhere.
And it was kind of at the end of the world or something like that. It was kind of like the end. The world was ending.
Yeah, because there was a giant barrier that was moving.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, like it was slowly
everything.
taking over everything.
Mm-hmm. And like mutating it.
What was the point of that?
Well, I mean, like the whole point of it was that like they discovered that there was no point, like that alien thing didn't have any vested interest in being on Earth. It just happened to be there, and then there was no greater design. It was just doing what was in its nature to do,
Which was what?
mutate everything around
over.
it.
Yeah.
And, I mean, like they didn't find out why, or like they just concluded that there was no why.
That was its purpose, was
Because,
just
like,
to live on.
We can't
through
be so
mutation.
arrogant to think that everything has a vested interest in like
us.
Yeah, in us.
Yeah, like these people that like, the Earth is the center of the universe. You're dumb as shit. Shut up. Say the stupidest ass things you can think of. Well, I don't believe the Earth is the center of the universe. I believe maybe the heavens, they have something to say about that. But there are people who believe that. They think that we're so super important and that we're the most important thing and everything revolves around us and whatever. Yeah, bullshit. That's not correct. I mean, I think we're important to God, but I don't believe that we're the most important thing. You know,
I don't think we're the bee's knees.
our Father's child says God's throne is the center. Exactly. That's what I believe. You know, it's people are very. I mean, they put way too much importance on humans, and they think the humans are like God, which I can't get on board with that. I've said that before. I just do not believe that. I don't believe that God is like us. I do not. Now, here's one thing I'm going to say about this. God, you know, okay, let's start with this. Jesus says that my people suffer and die for lack of knowledge, right? But yet, in the Garden of Eden, God is very angry because people found knowledge and were punished for it. But then later, Solomon asks for wisdom, and God is happy that he's trying to learn,
Yeah.
and gives him a ring that gives him all this power over these other entities. And then Jesus says that we die for lack of knowledge.
Yeah, those are good questions.
So which one is it? That's why I've always wondered about the creation, the beginning, you know, the Genesis. And then people say, well, God created the heavens and the earth. I say people say that. I say this is the man wrote this and says this. And they say God rested. You know, there are entities that don't need to rest. Why would God need to rest? That makes no sense at all. But the people that believe in that, I believe that what they want is to be like God. So if God is angry, jealous, bitter, you know, all wrathful, all these things, vengeful, then it gives them, like, they feel like they have the right to be that way. Some of the idiots that we've been, you know, dealing with, they believe that because they think God is that way. They think that they're like God. God is like them. No, boo-boo. That is not the case, okay? I'm telling you absolutely, you are not like God, and God is not like you. He is not those things that you wish he was so that you could have an excuse to be that way. But these are the same people that think that they have the right to mistreat animals and kill and do whatever because God says you can do what you want.
Oh, yeah, because they say the animals have no souls, which I don't believe.
They got better souls than these people do.
I think dirt has better souls. I think my shoe has a better soul.
Yeah, if we are told to test the spirits, then why is it so taboo to test the interpretations of man? The Bible according to man. Why do you get crucified when you tell people, hey, this is wrong? Oh, wait, they crucified another person that did that too. His name was Jesus. Okay, so Jesus always tells us, remember, he says, they hated me first. So these people that started this jihad, and that's what it is, a holy war, it's on par with anything that any terrorist has ever done. These people are crazy, making threats in ways that you wouldn't believe, riling up people to try to kill us, telling people that we kidnap people and did home invasions, and people that profess to be our friends ran over there and joined them so they could take us down and destroy us. For what? Because we told you that you were wrong. That I said, hey, maybe there's another way. I've been called a blasphemer by people proclaiming to be my friends, making up lies that you wouldn't believe, all in the name of God. I used to believe that the Christian fundamentalists, you know, that there was an exaggeration, overblown, whatever, until they came in knocking at my door with threats and aggression that rivals anything that I've seen from Muslims. And no, I'm not an Islamic apologist, nor am I Islamic. But it is, why do we not test the translations of man?
Yeah.
These were men that wrote the Bible. Could they have been wrong? And, you know, you can create a tulpa, not just of people, but of energy, of things, of beliefs. you can worship something and give it so much power that it takes on life because you give it that. So like, well, the Bible says, and so it's always been, and so we worship and we do this and we do that. And how do you know that you didn't create that through your energy that you gave it? Belief becomes reality. The crawler supposedly was started off as what? Now hear me out. It started off as some sort of fiction, right? What do they call it?
Right.
Pasta.
I was going to say pasta creeps. Creepy pasta. People make up stories and they become life, right? Now, I'm not saying that that's what this is, because this thing obviously was around before that, because you get stories and reports of this thing. But who's to say that that it didn't give it life? Like people see the Slender Man, you know?
Yeah.
One of the things that's interesting to me is the Mandela effect and how it is, you know, things that didn't exist, but now they do, and we don't know. Hell, half the time I got to look stuff up and go, maybe this changed. It was like the Aaron Kosminski thing. You know, who was Jack the Ripper? I don't give a shit what anybody says. That's who it was. Kosminski was a kosher butcher.
Yeah, he was a butcher.
Now
not
they
a
say he was a
barber.
barber. Why would you be a kosher barber? Is this this thing?
Yeah.
But I think they changed it so that, you know, it would throw you off. But, yeah, because that's what he was. And so we have to play this game and whatever. But I don't believe that that's what this is, you know. It says in Revelations 2... Oh, don't tell me. 2:19? Is it 2:19? Shit, I'm going to have to look it up. I want to make sure. No, I want to make sure I'm right. Revelations... Maybe it's 2:13.
2:19 is I know thy works and charity, you know. And thy patience and thy works.
Okay, it's 2:13.
Okay.
Revelations 2:13 is a message from Jesus to the church at Pergamum, in which he praises the church for maintaining their faith despite persecution and Satan's influence. The verse reads, I know where you dwell, where Satan's throne is. Yet you hold fast my name, and you did not deny my faith, even in the days of Antipas, my faithful witness, who was killed among you where Satan dwells. The verse demonstrates that Jesus understands the situation the church was facing. Here's what's odd. Here's what's weird. And they can change anything if they can change this. Antipas was actually killed during the time of Nero.
Mm-hmm.
But now they're saying that I read this a few days ago or something. I can't remember what day it was. That Antipas was killed in the 1200s. Yeah. So how did John in the book of Revelations write about Antipas in Revelations 2:13? They're saying that it's now on record that Saint Antipas was murdered. He was taken into a brazen bull. You know what that is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Horrible way to
Horrible
go.
way to die. And he was murdered in the temple of Apollyon, which is Apollo.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Apollo is the son of Zeus. It's that bloodline lineage we've talked about before. And they said now, oh, well, he died in the 1200s, so there's no way that could be true. Bull crap. They said that Switzerland wouldn't have even been yes, it was. It was part of a province of Rome at that time. It was Transalpine Gaul. And so I'm like, how the hell are you going to sit up here and tell me that whole region there was not a city there. There was just a province, like a provincial government. And it was just a bunch of pagans. And so Antipas was witnessing to them, and they killed him. Well, the funny thing is, guess what else is in Geneva, Switzerland? CERN, right? CERN, where it talks about them opening up the abyss, and they call it Apollyon, right? And then it says that that's the seat of Satan, the throne, if you will, of Satan. Right there in Geneva, Switzerland, the neutral country, right? See, the peacemaker. I'm the peacemaker. The peacemaker, always pretending to be the peacemaker. You have an entire country that pretends to be a peacemaker. Well, it didn't do it much good to be a peacemaker in the city of Dresden when the Allies firebombed it to ashes. And they said, well, they were trying to bring the Germans to their knees, right? Then why did you kill Poles, Russian POWs, Ukrainian POWs, Italians, Hungarians, some Germans, of course, and Jews? Why did you kill all those people? Was it a sacrifice? You did something so abhorrent that even the Soviets balked at doing it and participating. They said, we need to do this. And Stalin's like, no, you're good. Y'all go ahead and do it. Because he knew when it was done, they were going to put the blame on him. Because even back then, he knew that the West was run by satanic vampires committing sacrifices. Yeah, it does. It's Abaddon, but Abaddon is another, well, they think that it's another way of saying Apollo or Apollyon, yes. Thank you for that donation, Shade. We greatly appreciate anybody who donates. Oh, dude, yes, Barry. Stalin is an evil, evil dude. Stalin killed millions and millions of more people than Hitler. But he doesn't get the chastisement for it.
Look like a Boy Scout.
They were doing it long before, and they did it long after.
I was gonna say, he got started way before.
Yes, Sugi. CERN is built over the side of the Temple of Apollo and sits atop the bottomless pit known as the Abyss. And that is where Antipas, Jesus' loyal servant, was murdered in the Brazen Bull. And they're going to tell us it happened in the 1200s. Bullshit. So, but they can twist and they can turn, and their evil servants can do their bidding, do their will. Good will always triumph. Good will prevail. Like the song that Nelly wrote about envy. Go listen to it. Good will prevail. You will all fail. You're not going to win. You can convert and pervert and shake and twist and turn all you want. You can pervert the word. It's not going to change anything. Danita Whitson says, what do we do? There's things you can do. Ken Christian says, I live for the live shows. I like doing the lives too, but it's been the source of so much antagonization, and now you have people that are turning against us just because of pure jealousy and greed. What do you do? Seems like the only solution would be just to give it up and let them have it. Let these scumbags have it. Let them do what they want. Because we could always just do the podcast episodes. Some of these other morons, they don't know how to even do the live stream barely without help. They definitely can't do a podcast. Have you seen some of these Hills Have Eyes people? Bulk Dante says, who we talking about? Put them on blast? I will. I'm waiting to see what they do next. And then I'll go on to Rumble and I'll drop the dime because, these people can't help themselves. They'll say some things. They ran to the Hills Have Eyes people up in Oklahoma and said a bunch of stuff. Let them. And by the way, he's teaming up with Vulture again. So good luck to him. That's why I said let them have it. Let them have the shit. There's other mediums. We don't have to just use this platform. You know, they want to own YouTube. Let them have it. But we are really sick of it. We're really tired. Their eyes have hills. So, bless you. So, it's 2:24 here. If anybody wants to say anything, or if you have anything to say, whatever. Like I said, we're gonna do it again next week. We'll be back next week. But beyond that, we don't know what we're gonna do. And then we really gotta get these other stories done. We're gonna probably have to work on the podcast episodes. It's just tiring, man. You gotta do the show. You gotta work constantly, and then on top of it, every time I turn around, I'm having to throw down with these people. It's just, you know, whatever. Artistic Bunny says, we telling stories. No, I guess that's it for tonight, folks. We're going to bounce. Just came in tonight, just was not feeling too good. Just not physically feeling good. Having a headache. Bad headache.
Did a damn good job retelling that guy's Grand Canyon story, though. There was a lot to it.
Yeah, no, that was, it takes, you got to try to remember.
Oh, speaking of,
I got some notes here, but
Tony,
they're not
show him
like
what
big.
Tony did a rendition in
Something like
clay of.
There's a-
That's a thing the guy saw, I guess, is Tony's rendition of it. That cat
the
thing with
face,
the ridges on his
the
back.
face looks kind of weird.
I was thinking of like why he thought it was a boar. So I thought maybe it had like a saber tooth, so it maybe
you
had
got the
like
ears
tusks.
on there, dude, but I don't remember what he told me about the ears. So
That's why I didn't know what to do.
yeah, I guess I didn't get good enough job because I don't remember him saying anything about the ears. I should have asked that. You know, that's the thing about it, though. When he was telling me that, I had this idea in my head that the ears were just like a cat or a dog's ears, but I didn't ask.
Yeah.
I guess I screwed that
I was
up.
wondering if it maybe was a saber
Why don't we
tooth.
call him? We ambush him, make him. He starts stuttering. We knew you were lying.
Gotcha.
Just call
Gotcha.
him. Just call him and don't even tell him he's on the show.
That would be horrible.
He's live. Yeah.
That'll be funny. We start like a gotcha show where we first interview people, and then afterwards we'd like gotcha.
Then you just start a character assassination channel for everybody who speaks up.
Hey,
and
that's
has a
what
story.
sells. That's what's making all the money.
Let's just go after people every time they tell a story. Let's just run out there.
That's
and
all
attack
YouTube is nowadays. They care more about the drama.
them. Yeah, that's definitely it. That's a neat. You're getting better at the clay figure things.
Yeah.
Yeah, you ought to show him on the show, like whenever you finish them, because like I know you'll finish them and you'll take pictures of it and you post them on your Instagram, but nobody really looks at that.
Oh, thanks.
I mean, I'm not being I mean, like compared to the live stream,
Yeah.
you know, like there's not 500 people looking at your Instagram, but like when you show it live on here, like, hey, check this out. I mean, because like
I interrupt the show.
you are really good with that, and I tried my hand at that. I just gave up. I just
Well, here lately, when we've been doing the show, Tony's got his head down,
yeah.
and they started making up a rumor that he was sad and wanting to escape or something. It's
Yeah,
'cause
like-
he's, he's doing the clay.
Yeah, it's because he's like making stuff with his
Making with
hands.
his clay, the clay thing, you know, and they're like, "Oh, we knew
'cause
he was being
like-
held hostage."
Yeah. I'm like, we talk crap or whatever, but like that's a really cool talent that he has, and he's always working on it.
Overbuilt Automotive, are you serious? He said, "What's Instagram?" There you go. Clay figures should be sold as merch. I mean, a lot of you guys are in here and you like the live streams. Let's take a vote. You know, like, would you be okay with us just doing the podcast episodes, or do you want the live streams? I mean, let's take a poll,
You want to do a poll? Okay.
and then let's do the giveaways.
Sounds like a plan.
Oh, my neck.
How's your back doing?
Not good.
No, I was saying, like, I thought that maybe if it was like a saber tooth and he saw that, the teeth, he might have thought they were tusk. That's why he was like, oh, maybe it was a boar.
All right, so there's a poll up for y'all to vote on. See what they're voting on.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty overwhelmingly in favor of keeping the live streams.
Well, to be fair, we're asking all the people on the live.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
If we ask the podcast people, it'll go the other way.
The podcast.
They're like, oh, I don't care.
Ace Banner says, I hope you feel better after a cold shower. I already took one. Did the Wim Hof and did 2.5 minutes, like holding my breath twice, and then 1 2-minute and 1.5 minute. I felt better. Hopefully I get in the gym and I do my legs. I'll be all right. Just got a lot of disturbing news today. It was just not a good thing. Disturbing news about a friend of mine who's had a battle with addiction and he's fallen off the wagon. And then, you know, I got another person who had given me a story. Their spouse had messaged and said that they had passed away. So that was not a good thing either. So it was just a hard day today. It was rough. Today was just did not go as planned. And you know, just and then I find out that a friend of mine I didn't find out today. I just had to face it today. I faced the fact that a person that I called a friend is not. They're just not. You know, just need to face it. It's just the truth. Gold Lord says they lost a 48-year-old friend. That's not good.
Oh, no.
That's too young to be dying. And I'll be 49 in 7 days. But hey, I got a full head of hair. Even when they tried to lie and say I had hair plugs, I'm not gonna have hair plugs. You wish you.
You can
bald
tell
head,
when people have hair plugs. It's so obvious.
bald head redneck up there, and
You just don't have time for anything. This is what I find
Hey,
so
folks,
funny.
let me tell you something. I'm on disability, but I just run around doing boots on the ground. I don't know why nobody doesn't report that I'm full of shit. Hi, I'm Karen Rogers. I was driving my 40 the other day, you know, and so, you know.
Wow, that man looks like a future CEO.
He's a CEO.
Crazy, insane, outrageous.
Well, this poll is pretty much done.
Oh, I love the paratroopers. That's not even an issue.
Yeah, it's not you guys. Don't ever think that.
Not that. It's just You think people are a certain way and they're not.
We just got a lot of other stuff that needs our attention too. That is like unrelated, but extremely important.
All right, folks. I guess we're gonna head out.
Oh, giveaway, right?
The giveaways. Let's do the
yeah.
giveaways.
Yes,
if you
I'm gonna-
remember and your name is in green, let's do that.
I'm gonna temporarily change the chat to members only. There we go, members.
If you haven't won anything, guys, and you'd like to, go ahead and start saying that so we can get some choices.
You'll go ahead and pick. There's somebody that says they haven't won.
I'll go ahead and pick Area Trance. He's been with us for the past couple of weeks, coming on the show, and he was the first one to say that he hasn't won. I like quick, prompt responses. So
yeah, pick him. He's been coming on the live on the
Yeah.
Saturdays.
he's been very nice to us. Who's your pick, Tony?
I think I'm going to choose April and Mojo. That sounds very close to Banjo.
That's two people. Which one is going to get it, April or Mojo?
Mojo.
Okay, so April, you get nothing.
So you can't. Nellie says she wants to jump on.
Okay.
I don't think she can though.
There's a way to do it. I have to send
That's
her.
why, because we're using Streamlabs, not
Yeah,
Streamlabs.
what was the old way we used to
No,
do
there's a
it?
way to do it. Hang on.
Before Streamlabs. Or Streamlabs.
Labcam. So start Labcam. Copy. I'm gonna send her a link on Facebook. All right, Nelly, so just check your Facebook Messenger. You can click on that link and it's kind of similar to, what's it called?
StreamYard.
Streamlabs. Just a little bit different. And it should give you the option to not to not have your camera on if you don't want to be on camera.
Hey, Josh Casto, thank you for that donation.
Happy late birthday to you, man.
Okay, so are we doing the giveaways or what are we doing?
Me and Anthony have chosen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So who else has not won yet?
We got all these people here who said they haven't won.
SC007. They said, I have a cat as an avatar. I still haven't won.
Summer Side of Life, you already won. You said, yeah, I get a chance to win again. But I think that you're from another country or something. Those of you that are from another country, I've already told you guys, just send us. We already decided that if you win, we'll give you $40. Mm-hmm. And you can, if you want to spend it at the PRT store buying merch, then so be it. If not, then do what you want with it.
Nelly said it's not letting her join.
Well, what we can do.
Brooke Fusler, Sarah Swift.
Andrew Valdez says he hasn't won. I know he's been around for a while.
Yeah. You want to pick him?
Yeah, there was somebody else that I saw had been around for a while too.
Jessica Voyez, Mary Angel, Delaney.
I know that once we finish getting moved and whatever, come August, we're taking a vacation.
Yeah,
We're going to be
need it.
gone for a little while in August and probably again in September because I'm just tired and I'm sick of just not doing anything. I'm not tired of the show. I'm tired of the people messing with us, but I'm sick and tired of work. I feel like I'm dying. All I do is work, and then my little bit of free time I have to spend it fending off people's lies. And for what? What's the point?
Has Artistic won?
I don't know.
I'm sorry, Nelly, that you can't get in. I don't know what to tell you.
They haven't.
So Delana
Artistic's been around for a while too.
Delana has not won either.
Oh, he's Canadian.
Who?
Artistic Bunny.
Even if you win, if you're from another country, we can still, like I said, we'll see if you got a PayPal account or whatever, we can send you $40 to do. You can buy from something from the PRT store. It's your
Yeah.
choice.
Don't let your condition hold you back, Artistic. We believe you can get over that. I'll set up a GoFundMe for you.
So I guess I'll go with Delana. Delana, just send me your information, you guys. And then next weekend we'll do it again, and then we'll mail off after that.
Let me change the
Hang on,
chat.
do this. So, anyways, folks, thank you for tuning in. I'm just, there's a few things going on here. I've just gotten bad news, like upon bad news today. And then I am also in a large amount of pain. My neck and my back are hurting. I woke up just in a lot of pain. So sorry that I'm not on my A game tonight. And I did the best to remember the details of the story. And then I realized there were certain questions I should have asked the young man that I didn't. But we'll be all right. All right. So anyways, folks, thank you for tuning in. And don't forget, we're going to be needing sponsors. I'm trying to drum up sponsors for our TV. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Hope everybody had a great 4th of July. All right, guys, I'll see you. We are going to be okay next week. We'll be back. Then beyond that, we'll figure it out. We'll see what happens. Like I said, me personally, I want to keep doing the lives, and I still want to do the podcast episodes too. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
All right. Good night.
You know.
Play us out.